Hey, welcome to Home Brewer TV. Glad you could join me. We got a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk about my personal grain mill and how I go about using it and setting it up. We've got a tip on how to find those hidden little boogers that are making your beers taste bad. We also are going to be discussing two fantastic beers. They're actually barley wines, because it is the season to be sipping. And finally, hey, we all need more magazines to read. We're going to talk about one today. Also, fellas, be sure and check out some of the great deals our sponsors have set up just for you. You guys stay with me. This segment sponsored by homebrewtalk.com. Join us and talk about your homebrew ideas, questions, recipes, or anything else to help with your homebrewing enjoyment. homebrewtalk.com. Join us on this great forum. In one of our past shows, the one about all grain brewing where we did the old stock ale, well, we kind of quickly looked at my grain mill, but oh my goodness, have you guys been asking questions? And I'm thrilled to share. So we're going to talk about what is involved with a grain mill and how to adjust it today. The heart of my milling station is a Frankenstein mill. You have the frame, adjustment locks, adjusting bar, adjusting cams, grinding wheels, and power drive shaft. Taking the mill apart is very easy and necessary to do periodically for cleaning. This is a close-up of the adjustment cam and lock screw. These two areas on the plate will collect grain particles and need to be cleaned. The first mill I bought was a cheap unit on eBay, and you can see how the knurling is very poor compared to the Frankensteins. I learned a good lesson. You will want to set the rollers and the adjusting bar correctly after taking the unit apart and cleaning it. Untighten the locking screws and loosely attach the adjustment bar. Close the gap to 0 to align the rollers parallel. With the adjustment bar raised high, tighten the outer bolts while keeping the rollers even. The gap can now be evenly set. When you first get your grinder, the gap is set at 45 thousandths. I like to set mine at 38. Using a feeler gauge, adjust your gap and tighten the locking screws. Add your hopper and you are all set to grind your next brew. If you're anything like I am, I love to read anything and everything I can about beer. Beer making, beer drinking, I don't care. I just love to absorb beer stuff. Well, I've got books galore, and of course, I also love to read beer magazines. And there's a few of them out there that are really, really good, and we're going to talk about a lot of them. But today I want to talk about BYO, Brew Your Own. This is a fabulous magazine that has fantastic articles, great recipes, and of course, lots of good columnists that give us questions and answers to some of our brewing problems or ideas. Brew Your Own magazine is one that I love to see in the mail. And it is one that I think you might want to add to your growing collection of your magazines. And I never throw any of these away. Bill tells, I find I go back years, grab the magazine, oh, find something new, different, that I hadn't really, maybe not been interested in or paid that much attention at the time of reading it. Brew your own magazine. And these people are great. You can subscribe and get a free one to see if you even like it. Just go to our website, click on the BYO tag there, and it'll take you right to what you need to do. I think you will enjoy this magazine. I got an email from one of our viewers that has a question about a problem he's having. This is from Chuck in Bangor, Maine. I bet it's cold up there right now. Chuck writes, I have 6 kegs, and I am now starting to have batches go bad in one keg. I clean that keg well and sanitize, but it's happened twice now. Should I just throw the keg away? Well, Chuck, don't throw the keg away unless you want to throw it my way. But let me tell you about one area that can really be a problem cleaning. Now for me, I take my kegs and I fill them with PBW and I let them soak real well. And then of course I rinse them and then I sanitize them. But one area that we oftentimes forget about that can be difficult to get grunge is our pickup tubes. This is a really long, skinny tube, and I've found that there's actually been stuff that's hidden in here that even after soaking in PBW, I just didn't get it rinsed out, cleaned out well enough. Solution for you to give a try, and I think this will solve your problem. Grab one of these brushes. Nice, thin, very firm brush on a very long wire. Slide this baby through, and it will scrub the sides down, getting all that gunge. This is after you've put it in some PBW. And work it all the way through. Comes out. You will find on your brush indications of stuff that was still left in there even after cleaning. So Chuck, my suggestion, keep your kegs, clean your tube, and use a big old brush. These things only cost maybe, $4 or $5. Hey, this segment was brought to you by mashpaddle.com. Check them out. Great, great products. Welcome to the tasting room. We've got 2 delightful barley wines to try today. And hey guys, this segment is brought to you by To Design Art. They've got a special deal continuing for you, 25% off plus free shipping. Use the code word HBTV252 and you'll be able to send your honey something nice, get you out of the doghouse. That's for sure. Well, our first one we're going to try today is from Uintah. This is a company that is in Utah, which surprised me quite honestly, being Utah's kind of not a big drinking state. But this is a barley wine. Uintah actually opened in 1993. And they have been growing and growing. In 2001, they had grown 2 places. They started out in a small mechanic shop, and that didn't last long. But their new place is 100% wind powered. And I just think that is so cool. So, fantastic company. Seems to be, they send their grains out for feed for animals. They try to recycle bottles. They're just, well, they're obviously eco-friendly. So, let's give this one a try. Now, barley wine, of course, is a higher alcohol beer. This one happens to be 10.4. It's got an IBU of 72. That's International Bittering Units. And I'm sure you guys have been to different bars which you've ordered up like a barley wine or a big beer and they bring it to you in these little bitty glasses. I was wondering about that, but seems to me it makes sense because to brew a big giant beer takes a whole lot more grain, going to cost a lot more. Well, now it doesn't seem like we're paying for so much more. Well, I think this is a beautiful beer. Gorgeous, gorgeous, creamy head. I can see the bubbles flowing up through. It's a pretty beer, and I can already smell. With big beers, we know that we're going to have that lovely malt aroma. Wow. Barley wine's made for sipping. This is not a beer you're going to sit down and chug through a whole six-pack. If you can, you're a bigger man than me. But late evening, sitting back by the fire, enjoy a barley wine. All right, this is wonderful. I've always enjoyed barley wines. I have to admit it's not a beer I brew a whole lot of myself, because I think one of the problems is it's better if you let it sit for a long, long time. This particular one is about a year old, but oh my goodness, it is delicious. The hops balance out the sweetness of the malts. Oh, you'll like this. All right, our next beer is from the Alaskan Brewing Company. The Alaska Brewing Company was formed by Jeff and Marcy Geoff in 1986. Turns out these two just decided they needed to go off to Alaska for an adventure. They loved it there. Then they had to figure out some way to make some money. Well, since Jeff was a home brewer, everybody said, open your own brewery. And that's what they did. It was the first brewery opened in Alaska since Prohibition. There were other breweries that actually existed in Alaska because we had the gold rush, if you remember. People dash into Alaska and they like to have their beer at the end of a long day of mining. Well, Jeff was wise enough to go back into the records. He found newspaper reports and various other reports about the old brewing companies and the kinds of beers they brewed. There was even recipes, which he has taken and used to brew some of the similar kind of beers that was available during the gold rush. I just think that's really outstanding. Again, and I'm noticing this with so many different microbreweries, they are eco-friendly. They are recycling left and right. They come up with new ideas on how to do different ways of saving water, energy, and of course, what to do with their spent grain. The Alaska Brewing Company, for one, thoroughly enjoys drying their grain because you don't find a lot of cattle ranches in the cold Alaska weathers. They dry it, ship it down into Washington and Oregon. I mean, that is really being an eco-friendly place. Well, this is a giant bottle, which I'm sure you're going to understand the crew said, oh, get the big one. Because now we're all going to have a little bit. So let's just try some of this Alaskan barley wine. Wow. Compare the two, it'd be pretty tough to be able to tell which is which from the color. They're both a gorgeous, gorgeous dark amber. They both have lovely heads. This is also 10.4 alcohol. This has got a 60 IBU. All right. Oh, okay, I had to admit I love big beers. To me, they just make my day. I love explosions of flavors in the mouth, and this certainly explodes. Both of these are really good. This one, a little more bittering hops used than this one. So the Alaska one's a little bit sweeter. This, I think, would be magnificent with a dessert. Oh, a great cheesecake and barley wine. Oh, all right, I'm going to start to drool. This one, I think would be phenomenal with a little cheese, particularly a nice pungent cheese like a blue cheese. Oh, oh, well, two fantastic barley wines. Time for my thumbs up. You know, I've heard from you guys. I'm giving an awful lot of 3 thumbs up, 2 thumbs up, 3.5. We've even approached 4. Well, I think it's because I've just been having such fantastic beers. I don't really want to get any that are lower. So, I'm giving this beer 3 thumbs up. You will really like it. And if you like a little bit sweeter, this one, I'm giving it 3.5 thumbs up. I think this one's fantastic. So, that's our barley wines. I hope you enjoy. Give them both a try. Hey, thanks for spending the time with me today here on Homebrewer TV. And I really enjoy getting your comments, suggestions, and ideas. You can leave comments below by hitting the comments word, or send me an email. If you have any questions about anything, love to hear from you. Don't forget to check out our great sponsors, and I will see you next week right here on Homebrewer TV.